That specific hum of a busy school hallway, the slamming locker, the squeaking shoes, the fluorescent lights buzzing overhead like a cheap neon sign. For years, that was my natural habitat. I loved the hustle, but after my injury, the habitat turned hostile. The lights felt like they were burning my retinas. The noise felt like physical blows. I remember walking down the hall, holding it together, while staff members stopped me to ask, "How are you doing?" And students looked at me with wide eyes asking, "Miss, what's wrong?" I had to lie. I had to smile and say, "I'm fine," while my brain was literally misfiring inside my skull. A year ago, I made the hardest decision of my career. I left my forever position. I walked away from the students and the school I loved because I realized something terrifying. This job is slowly killing me. So I transferred. I moved to an online position. I thought if I just changed the environment, if I just go home, I can heal. But here I am, 1 year later, and the truth I have to face this week, I'm not better. In fact, the silence of my home office has just made the internal noise louder. Let's talk about the cognitive drain. People think TBI recovery just means you get tired faster. But this week I learned it's scarier than that. It's about trust, specifically losing trust in your own actions. This week, I was doing the simplest part of my job, logging notes. I typed the note, I reviewed it, I swore I pressed enter to submit it. My brain recorded the memory of pressing enter. I moved on to the next task. 3 hours later, I tabbed back to that screen. The window was still open. The note was sitting there, unsubmitted. I stared at the cursor blinking at me, and my stomach dropped. Because the scary question isn't, why didn't I press enter? The scary question is, how many other windows did I close today thinking I was done when I wasn't? And then the paranoia hits. I saw a message pop up in the work chat from a coworker. "Hey, there are no notes from the EL team confirming testing." Immediate panic. My heart hammered against my ribs. Is it me? Did I forget that too? Well, there's only 2 of us on the EL team, and the other one I know didn't do that. So it had to be me. Am I the broken link? Of course I am. And right then, in that moment of fear, my body reacted. My left eye started twitching uncontrollably. A pressure built up in my head, like someone has inflated a balloon behind my eye. That is the cognitive drain. It's the constant, excruciating terror that your brain is lying to you. Then there is the physical pain. People hear the word spasticity and they think it means a tight muscle, like a cramp. I want to define what it actually feels like for me. It isn't a cramp. It's a burning fire that starts in my neck and crawls down my spine. It is a guessing game of what it's going to misfire next. I try to fix this by buying a standing desk. I thought I could alternate my way out of pain. But here's the reality. I stare at a computer screen. I read for maybe 10 minutes. That is my limit. Because at the 10-minute mark, my thighs and hips lock up. It feels like they are physically bounded, like someone has wrapped heavy industrial rubber bands around my legs and tightened them until the circulation stops. So I stand up to escape the pressure, opening my legs. Sometimes I forget that I can open my legs because they are so wounded and tightened up. That's when the electricity hits. Zap, I feel like electric jolts shooting through my hands. I try to type while standing, but the signals are crossed. I misstep the keystrokes. I fumble the mouse. For a second, I actually panic and think, am I tied to the chair? But the pain in my back intensifies. The burning gets louder, so I have to sit back down, and the cycle starts all over again. The 5 minutes up, the zap starts. 10 minutes down, the binding starts. It's a torture loop. And when I physically can't take another second, I take what I call a quiet pass out. I don't log off. I don't say goodbye. I just lean my head back against the chair, close my eyes, and let my brain shut down. I fade to black because it's the only place where the burning stops. For a long time, my pain has been a puzzle. I have lipodemia, painful, diseased fat in my legs, my thighs, my hips, my abdomen. I have severe osteoarthritis in my knee. But this summer, we found something new. A complete MRI of my spine showed spots in the thoracic cavity, the upper back. They call them, think of them as benign blood tumors inside the spine. Usually they sleep. But after a trauma, like a bad fall, I took in May of 2024, they can wake up. And because of those spots, I have internal spasticity. I want you to imagine swallowing a running washing machine. That is what my torso feels like. I can be standing still, and inside, I am vibrating like a motor. I can be lying in my bed in a silent room, and suddenly I grip the sheets because I feel like the earth has cracked open underneath me. It feels like literally an earthquake is happening inside my ribs. And then the sensation flips. Sometimes instead of the heavy earthquake, I get the astronaut feeling spontaneously, whether I'm sitting in a waiting room or trying to sleep. I will suddenly feel like I am floating. It starts at the waist, My legs just detach. I know they are there, but my brain tells me I am hovering 3 feet in the air. It makes me feel inhuman to be vibrating 1 minute and floating away the next. Before I go, I want to answer a question I get a lot. Cassie, if you can't type an email without pain and you can't look at a screen for more than 10 minutes, how are you making a podcast? It's a fair question. The answer is I'm not doing this the way a healthy person does. I don't sit in a studio for an hour. I record 5-minute bursts. I record laying down in the dark with my eyes closed. I use voice-to-text tools because my hands can't handle the keyboard. I use AI to help me with everything, to help me organize my scattered thoughts when the cognitive fog sets in. This isn't a performance of perfection. It's a mosaic of broken pieces glued together. I do this because even though my body's broken, my voice is the one thing I haven't lost. And using it is the only way I know how to stay alive. So, how do we survive this? If you take one thing away from my story this week, let it be this. Write it down. Chronic illness is a gaslight. When you are in the doctor's office and you are exhausted, your brain will try to make you say, I'm okay. Keep a log. Document the zaps. Document the floating. Document the windows you forget to close. Document the log. Isn't just a diary. It is evidence. It is the only way to prove to the world and to yourself that what you are feeling is real. And finally, ask yourself the hard question I asked myself this week. Is what I am doing working? I looked at the buzzing, the fatigue, and the pain, and I had to answer honestly, no, it wasn't working. So I stopped. And if what you are doing isn't working, you are allowed to stop too. I am Cassie, and for now, I'm signing off to rest. Thank you for listening.